Hey guys, we're here with another Foundations video where we'll be talking about drumming technique. Maybe you're a drummer who's gotten in a rhythm of serving and monitoring technique just hasn't been a priority. Or maybe you're a drummer who's self-taught and you've never had any formal training and you've kind of had to figure it out as you go. Whatever the case may be, it's crucial for every drummer to embrace the importance of good technique because a failure to do so can drastically impact your performance. Before we take a look at some foundations of technique, let's first talk about how this can benefit your playing.
Firstly, playing with good technique keeps you from getting tired as easily. A big part of technique is efficiency and getting the most out of your effort. Often, bad technique looks like wasted or unnecessary movement that can wear you out over time. Good technique also allows you to play better for longer, since tired drummers tend to cut corners and play sloppy. Secondly, good technique allows you to play more in control, which leads to consistency. Like a golf swing, you've eliminated any extra or unexpected movement, and you've created a stroke that you can replicate the same way over and over again. Because you're now playing with greater control and consistency, you can also play with better tone. Each drum is meant to be struck in the center of the head from straight on. When you strike the drum in the right spot more frequently, you'll get the best sound out of the drum more consistently. Don't let poor technique cause you to hit the drum from inconsistent angles with poor accuracy. The drum won't sound as good. Because you are now playing with greater efficiency and control, you can now play faster. You can more easily control your volume as well. You can play with greater dynamics, and you can minimize sloppiness and play with greater precision. The benefits to playing with good technique are undeniable. Let's now take a look at some of the fundamentals, starting at the shoulders and work our way down the arm.
If I told you to hit a drum as hard as you possibly could, you'd likely start with the stick somewhere behind your head and you'd use your entire arm to generate power. There's plenty of good reasons for why you would do this for one big, powerful hit. You'd want every single muscle in your arm contributing to this one movement, and that makes a lot of sense. It's a great way to generate power. If I told you I wanted you to replicate that exact same movement 1,000 times in a row, though, you'd very likely be incredibly exhausted. So many drummers, by default, tend to use their entire arm whenever they're striking the drum, and this is unsustainable. Not only do you lose a large amount of control, you also tire yourself out unnecessarily. Think of your shoulders and elbows as overdrive. This is what you use for extreme moments where you want to generate a little bit of extra power. But this can't be your default setting, or you'll be exhausted, and you'll definitely be playing way too loud for our context. The primary role of your shoulders and elbows is transportation for your hands around the kit. The majority of the time, your power should be generated from the wrist.
The more power we can generate from the wrist, the less we have to rely on our shoulders. And that allows us to play with good technique for longer periods of time. You want to generate at least 80% of your power from the wrist and do that consistently. You must keep your wrist straight up and down though. This is the most natural movement of the wrist, and it gives you the largest range of motion. Think about how you would dribble a basketball, and that's how you should hold your wrist when playing. It might be helpful to occasionally record a video of your hands while practicing. This is a great way to shine light on bad habits that might have otherwise gone unnoticed.
So as we think about our shoulders and elbows as transportation, and our wrist as the driving force of our power, our fingers provide control and speed. So much of our speed comes from the bounce of the stick off your fingers. In fact, the faster you play, the less your wrist moves at all, and the more your fingers take control as the stick recoils off the drum. When holding the stick, keep the majority of the pressure on the fulcrum between the thumb and the pointer finger. The other three fingers can rest gently on the stick or just off the stick, keeping a little space between. What's important here is to keep all four fingers opposite the thumb involved in the recoil as you play. Don't take your pinky off. The more contact you have on the stick, the more control you have of its movement. Conversely, you also want to avoid gripping all five fingers around the stick in a death grip with no space or movement between your non-fulcrum fingers and the stick. This takes the fingers completely out of the equation and leaves the speed and control and power completely up to the wrist.
So here's an exercise to work on finger control and speed. For this one, we're going to hold the sticks a little differently than we normally would. We're going to keep them parallel to each other, using just our fingers to throw the stick at the drum pad. That'll look something like this. To get started, we'll put the click on at 30 BPM with a 16th note subdivision. We are going to play 4 strokes on our right hand and then 4 on our left for a minute and a half, and then 8 on each hand for a minute and a half. And that'll look something like this. Then we will progress to 12 and 16 in each hand, both for a minute each. This will add up to being a 5-minute exercise. After that, you can bump the tempo up in increments of 5 until you reach 80 BPM. We hope this video has been helpful to you. If you have any questions about this video, please reach out to us at worship@grace-bible.org. We'll see you next time.